こんにちは。今日はマレーシアの TRX っていうモールの中にある西部のワインショップに来ております。こちらの会社のオペレーションを担当しているジョーさんにマレーシアのワイン事情についてお話を伺っていきたいと思います。そして実は、こちらのワインショップでマイアムのワインも販売していただけることになりましてはい。
すごい。
ありがとうございます。
TRX って誰もが知ってるモールです。すごい有名な、ちょっとラグジュアリーな。
そうですよね。今結構マレーシアの中ではかなり一番ラグジュアリーなモールですよね。
いやー、すごいですね。
そう、だからすごいもうジョーのおかげで、ここに入ることができたので、まあそれも含めていろいろとお話伺えたらなと思っております。So first of all, could you introduce yourself and how long you've been in this industry in Malaysia?
Okay. Yeah. I'm Joe Miyazi, and I'm in this F&B industry and wine culture for the last 10 years. Yes, and I started off as a waiter in this industry. When I first came into the field, I don't know how to open a cork of wine cork.
Oh.
So I struggled, and along these years, I've learned love everything to do with wine. I love the wine culture, learn about new grapes, the vinification process. I'm really passionate about wine.
Oh, so 10 years in Malaysia.
Yes.
Okay. So before that 10 years, where were you before coming to Malaysia?
I was based largely in I was born in Bangladesh, but I grew up in Singapore. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's more of my life was mostly spent in Singapore.
Oh, Singapore. Okay.
Yeah.
So what made you to come to Malaysia?
We had a family business here. We had a gym complex in Johor. So one of the gym, yeah.
Like training gym?
Yeah.
Oh.
So we just came to set up the business and had a business here.
Oh, 10 years ago.
10 years ago. Then I moved out. I moved away from the family side and then having my own. I forged a career myself here.
I see. So you always liked wine and food?
Yes. Yeah.
So Malaysia is often seen as a country where people don't really drink alcohol. How's your experience?
Studying about the demography of this country, out of 80% is Muslim population.
Yes.
So over 20 million plus people out of 30 million, 20 million don't drink. It's only small percentage. I believe it's about 3 to 4 million of this minority race, which is Chinese and Indian. They make about 2 to 3 million people is considered to be a wine drinker out of these 25 million people in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who are the main customers who actually buy wine at your shop?
From this shop and as well as from my experience, my other outlets, I would say 80% consumers are Chinese backgrounded people, and most of them enjoy mostly those are upcoming new drinkers always prefer the Australian wine.
Okay, from your sales experience here, what kind of style of wine that sells the most here? Like what kind of countries or regions or wine style?
I would say from my experience, Australian as well as Argentinian wine sells pretty well. Chilean wine is also making a lot of inroad into Malaysian market. Chilean and Argentinians, and partly due to compared to the French and Italian wine, South American wines are a slightly lower range. And also the quality is really good, good. And my personal favorite is Argentinian Malbec. So yeah, and that's the majority category who purchase Australian and the South American wines. But there's this niche market, the seasoned wine drinkers. They always go for the good French and Italian labels. So these are the seasoned people. They know what wine they want, the specific chateau, a specific label, region. Like the Tuscany wine they will always go for the good old classic Chianti Classicos. So Italian and French wine drinkers, you don't have to tell them what bottle to buy. They know what
already.
they want to buy.
I see.
It's only the young and new upcoming wine drinkers that one we can market to them, sell to them what we are selling or promoting.
So the reason why people tend to like the Australian or Chile or like a New World wine, it's because it's a lower price than the classic wines, or
yes, I would say there's two reasons. As far as from my perspective, what I understand is most of the wine drinkers in Malaysia and Singapore tend to be spend a good portion of their higher studies in Australia. A lot of them finish their A levels, they move to Australia to pursue education, and they get used to the Australian wine. So the Malaysian wine drinkers, they know most of the Australian wineries, very well versed in that, partly because of their educational background in Australia. And second reason, the money value. South American, Argentinian and Chilean wine is much available in much lower range compared to the French and Italian.
Sure. Oh, so it's because it's easy to go to Australia from Kuala Lumpur, like to Perth, especially.
Perth, yes. As a matter of fact, we have a joke amongst Singaporean and Malaysian that Perth is the second home for most of the Singaporean and Malaysians because all of them choose to study there. It's like 4-hour flight. And although the bigger cities is Melbourne and Sydney, most parents prefer to send their children to study in the Western Australia, which have Margaret River is there. So that's a very good wine producing region in Australia, Western Australia.
すみません、まいさん。ちょっと私、英語が苦手で。
大丈夫。
ちょっと説明してもらってもいいですか？
今すごい面白くって、確かにマレーシア、オーストラリアのワイン多いと思ってたんですよ。オーストラリアとかチリとかアルゼンチンとか、ニューワールドって言われてる部類のワインがやっぱ多くって、まあ値段的にフランスとかイタリアよりも安いからなのかなって思ってたんですけど、マレーシアとオーストラリアって実は飛行機で4時間ぐらいなんですね。パースっていう左側の方だと。なので、オーストラリアで勉強するマレーシア人とかシンガポールの人が多いらしくって。なので、マレーシアの人がそのオーストラリアっていう土地に対してすごい親近感があるし、そこにいたからそこで飲んでる。オーストラリアで飲んでて、そこの生産者を知ってたりとかっていうのがあって、やっぱ帰ってきても、マレーシアに帰ってきてもオーストラリアのワインを飲んでるっていう人が多いらしいです。知らなかった。確かに本当にオーストラリアの学校に行く人多いんですよね、マレーシアから。
確かに。
Yeah, so the prices, the wine prices in Malaysia are often higher than other countries.
Yes, that's largely due to the customs duty.
Custom duty is very expensive.
Yes. So the duty, most of the business owners paid the duties to the government. They have to pass it to the final consumers. So the consumers end up paying for these custom duties and all that. And as we understand, it's a Muslim background country. So government will encourage to hike up the duties on alcohols to discourage the locals from consuming it. That's what I believe. That's the reason for having higher duties compared to other wine drinking countries.
So how does pricing affect customer behavior?
I would say it doesn't have much effect. Because those wine lovers, they don't mind paying the money.
They don't mind paying the money for wine.
As far as I understand, I didn't come across any situation that they complain about the wine prices, but they do compare between different supermarkets. Like there's some mainstream supermarkets here, so like Jaya Grocer, Ben's, and also some well-known supermarkets that they compare the prices. I can get it slightly cheaper there. Maybe there's a 20 ringgit lower here, 5 ringgit higher there. That's the only small comparison they make. But generally, the price range, the wine drinkers, they don't actually complain much. They don't mind. As a matter of fact, sometimes certain restaurants mark up the price 3 to 4 times the wine's cost price. 4 times as well. I've seen that. We even seen few restaurants because I deal with wine. So we know the price of a bottle would be about 50 ringgit, but at some restaurants they sell it for 300 ringgit.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like crazy markup happens and still consumers buy it, customers buy it.
It's that markup kind of same as Japan. It depends where you go.
Yes, depends on the place. The place, the product, place, and the pricing comes along with that.
マレーシアってワイン高いんですよね。で、その高いのはやっぱり分かっていて、イスラム教の人が多い国なので、税金とか関税とかいろいろそういうものが高いんですね。国的にそういうものを少し高くすることによって少しやっぱ規制をしてるんじゃないかってジョーもやっぱ思うと。でも、それがちょっと高いからといって何か影響があるかというと、やっぱりワイン好きな人は高くても買うから、そんなに影響を感じてないってジョーは言ってますね。でもちょっと私が気になるのは、量ですかね。ちょっとそれ聞いてみたいと思います。So actually, since me coming here, I drink less alcohol because it's very expensive.
Okay.
Like compared to Japan, I was buying wine a lot cheaper.
Yes.
So now I feel like I'm drinking less.
Because you think it's incurs more expenses.
Yeah, but it's not like incurs more expenses. More like I feel like the value for money
is not here.
Not here. Yeah. So that's why actually since me moving here, I tend to buy more expensive wines when I buy it.
Okay.
Because I feel the casual wines are actually too expensive for just the casual wines. So I feel I drink less, but more quality wine.
Okay.
That's how my style has changed since coming here.
Okay.
Yeah. But what do you think that what other customers feel?
Other customers, if I compare the expat, especially Japan and Koreans, in F&B outlet, because I do work for 7 different outlets. So most of our clientele, especially Japanese and Koreans, are the high spenders. These Japanese spend a lot of money, especially if there's a dinner for Japanese company or corporate event. That's like our lucky day. Because they don't really care about the money. So it's like it'll be free flow of champagne, free flow of wine and all that. I've hosted a lot of Japanese corporate dinners in that sense. And if you ask me, yes, your concern is true. It's because, and expats, especially the Australians, New Zealanders, when they come to F&B restaurants to eat, dine, they don't buy wine because they feel like it's really, the price is crazy for them because they are used to seeing this Australian wine they can get for $10.
Yeah.
Here they have to pay even in dollars for $50 to $60.
Yes.
So the expats, especially the Western expats, they don't buy much wine in restaurant. They come have proper dinner, maybe have a glass of wine. That's about it. Because they feel like it's not a purchasing wine, the price of 3 or 4 times more than the market value is not worth the paying the price. Yeah, what your concern is true in a sense.
Yeah. So I think feel the same way as them.
And so most Western expats just come, have dinner, buy a glass of wine or beer. That's about it. But they do buy wine, but that happens very seldom. But more often it's always the Japanese and Koreans who purchase more wine while having dinner.
Oh, okay. When having dinner.
Yes.
Oh.
And how about your way of enjoying a good wine? It's about quality over quantity. I think that's the best way to appreciate wine. Because you don't just buy a cheap wine and just open 2 or 3 bottles each different day and it just make you tipsy. You don't enjoy appreciate the wine at all. You can't. I'd rather stay for a month and buy a decent bottle.
Yes.
And rather than open a one cheap wine every week and drink 4 different bottles.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel.
I strongly feel that that's the right way to appreciate wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's actually my concept also for Mayam wine. So the Mayam wine is 100 mils, a glass of wine, but it's a very good quality wine, you know. So it's like, maybe people might find it more expensive compared to bottles.
Yes.
But actually you get more pleasure in wine.
Yep. I enjoy your the Mayam collection wine bottles. Is very fancy, looks very cute. I think it's for the couples who are having a romantic dinner. It's ideal to have 2 bottles. Maybe the girl prefers a white wine, the boy prefers a red wine, or it's the other way around, and it's a perfect pairing for the food. And as you said, it's a good quality wine. So in quality, you don't need much quantity, do you? So yeah, I prefer this concept of a wine culture. Choose quality over quantity.
Yeah. What do you think people find my product here? Do you think people would like it as a gift or maybe for themselves?
I feel like it's a perfect gift item. As I introduced some to our regular clientele here, everybody is super impressed.
Yeah?
Yeah. Everybody is like, when are they going to send it more from Japan?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And yeah, it's going to be a hit. The product launching and the customer feedback has been very positive.
I have to be hurry importing them soon.
Yeah. Japanese product in South Asian market, especially Singapore and Malaysia, it's always, we deem it as the top quality, and it comes, the Japan's brand value is quality here. So when you bring something from Japan, it's bound to be a hit.
Yeah, it's promising quality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
OK。
ロマンティックデートっていうのを聞き取れました。
あ、どこから訳そうかな。どこか。マイアムの商品は、やっぱりギフトに最適なんじゃないかって、やっぱその男女でなんかロマンティックディナーとかするときに、ああいうサイズで、そしてそのクオリティの高いものをたしなむっていう時間をなんか2人で楽しめたらいいと思うし、そういうのをギフトしたい人がたくさんいるって言ってくださってて。だからなんかもうすでに今ディスプレイしてるから、いつもっとたくさん入ってくるのみたいな声があるみたいなんで。
すごい。
はい。ヒット商品になりそうっていうことです。はい。
すごい。
嬉しい。
嬉しい。
はい。Okay, thank you so much, Joe. And then maybe last question. So how do you see the future of wine market in Malaysia? Do you think people will have more knowledge about wine, or people tend to, maybe people want more expensive wines, or how do you think it will change?
I think the wine culture, the future of wine culture in Malaysia is growing. I see a lot of young professionals, they always join for this masterclass, short wine conversation I have every week here on Fridays, most Fridays. And those young professionals works around here in TRX, they always call for reservation. They want to join for the class. It's more like a casual, I call it sip and conversation.
Yeah.
マレーシアはワイン市場が成長中という。
成長中ですね。すごい。はい。
若い人も飲まれてる。
はい。ですね。
じゃあますます期待が。
若い人もやっぱ勉強欲があるって。やっぱりその、どんなワイン、ただワインを飲むだけじゃなくて、ワインがどういうものなのか、どういうブドウで作られているとか、どうやって作られてて、どのリジョンでとかっていうものを知りながら飲むことがやっぱり楽しいと思える人が増えてるみたいなので。
ぜひそれをマイアムのワインで
ですね。
勉強してもらえたら。
はい。はい。ありがとうございます。Okay, thank you so much, Joe.
Thank you so much.
I've learned a lot today, and then yeah, it's been very interesting.
Some need to drink some wine, I guess.
Yeah.
Prasad, ஒரு 4 glass house pour கொஞ்சம் பாதியா கொடுங்க. Don't give us 150 ml, give us 100 ml. Because house pour.
なんか、
நாளை கொடுங்க
今もうこの話したから今ワイン
actually
を
we should have kept some
いやいや、
wine
ワイン飲みたいとか言って今、
yeah
ワイン今くれる。
急遽
should have kept some wine on the table
いやいや、we should.
yeah never
It's
mind
okay, we can drink now and cheers. Cheers for the future. So many.
Yeah, all four everybody
All four.
nobody goes with just leave it everybody
Thank you so much.
it's okay I'll take the rate then
Cheers.
cheers salute
Salute.